Welcome to the Hey Mama Homeschool Show, centered around family life and home education. How do you get homeschooling and housework done? How do you help children who are struggling? How do you teach a rebellious child? We have answers. You pour into your family daily, and we are here to help you. Brought to you by the Old Schoolhouse, your trusted partner for over 20 years.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Hey Mama Homeschool Show. I'm your host, Christine Weller, and I am a homeschooling mom of two boys here in Ontario, Canada. And I have the privilege of working for schoolhouseteachers.com, which is a division of the Old Schoolhouse. So today we are talking about the trials and triumphs of teaching writing. And I don't know about you, but for some, including myself, teaching writing is just as hard as teaching math. And it depends on the stage that you're at, of course. Sometimes it's just, the beginning parts of it, and then sometimes it's when they're older and they have to write much more than they used to, and it's a struggle. So we're going to talk about all that. But before we dive right in, I just wanted to mention that today's episode is brought to you by Easy Grammar Systems, an award-winning grammar program that's easy to teach, easy to learn, and easy to remember. Visit www.easygrammar.com to learn about their unique approach to grammar. So, as I mentioned before, writing is a crucial skill, but it can also be a bit of a roller coaster ride. From the trials of, teaching those reluctant writers to the triumphs of witnessing our child just really get into creative expression, I gotta tell you, there's never a dull moment. We're going to look at some of the trials that writers face, and then we're gonna end on the happy note of looking at all the triumphs that make the journey worthwhile. So let's start with some of the trials that you might be facing but with teaching writing. So one of the things is overcoming writer's block. And this is something that I know a little bit about. I have written two children's books, and there were moments where you're just staring at that blank page and the ideas were just not coming, and it was a struggle. And it's not something that's uncommon. It is a very common thing among many authors. Writer's block is very real. So one of our challenges as teachers is to help our learners, our students, overcome writer's block. So some of the strategies that we can implement are, brainstorming skills, free writing, and writing prompts. And I'll tell you, if you haven't found them already, Schoolhouse Teachers has many courses that give you some writing prompts. And we'll make sure and pop those in the show notes. So be sure to check out the show notes after this episode, and you'll be able to click through and maybe start some of those writing prompts. And these writing prompts are going to help students break through this barrier. So it will be a stepping stone into, some inspiration, obviously. But then after a while, when they get used to seeing some of these prompts, hopefully the goal is that they'll be able to come up with the ideas on their own. So what do you do when you have a reluctant writer? Well, not all students are eager to pick up a pen or sit down at a keyboard, but some may resist writing due to a lack of confidence, in their ability, or maybe they're just not interested in the topic at hand. And one of the things that I am a big believer in is interest-led learning. And so I always try to make sure that whatever I'm presenting to my kids, it's something that they're interested in, because I know that they've got a little bit more invested into it, and they're going to want to actually do this because they're hopefully passionate enough to have things to say, right? So, encouraging reluctant writers involves them to really tap into their interests. And, we've got to encourage them and support them along the way. So, that means asking them questions and giving them those prompts again to get the juices flowing. Because, that it's there. Like my kids, they talk all the time. They tell stories all the time, and they're so passionate about certain topics. And so, and then they get discouraged because their piece of paper is in front of them. And so they just need that little extra prompt to say, okay, well, remember you were telling me about, this character or, this topic that you just learned about. Tell me again what you were saying. Now, oh, this would be really good idea to put in your story. Or maybe you can explain that a little bit more. And, and so you keep going, keep prompting them in that line of thinking. And so one of the other trials that comes out of teaching writing is, navigating through grammar and all of the mechanics of writing. And so mastering the rules of grammar, punctuation, and spelling, they can be very daunting for students, especially when they're just getting started. And teaching these essential skills requires patience, obviously, which is unfortunately not a trait for many young people, but we have to teach them, right? And repetition is key for many other areas outside of writing, but for sure for writing. And again, like we mentioned, using a creative approach to make learning more enjoyable and effective. So there's things like grammar games. Schoolhouseteachers.com has a course called Daily Grammar. So many other courses as well that include interactive exercises and getting them to help edit their own work or each other. Maybe you've got siblings in the home where they can edit each other's work and help reinforce the concepts in a fun and engaging way. Turn it into like a game, because school should be fun. Should not be considered something that is hard, because while it is very important skills that they're learning, we want them to love learning. So keep that in the back of your mind. And those were the 3 trials. Now, why don't we take a look at some of the triumphs? So one triumph is, celebrating creative expression. And so when we witness our students' creative expression, we see it come to life on the page. And like I mentioned before, when my one son had seen his story come to life on a page, like he was so excited that he wrote this. And like, yeah, this was in my head, and now it's something for people to read. And whether it's a vivid description, a heartfelt poem, or a captivating story, like I think it was called The Boy and His Orca or something like that. And it was such a wild adventure. And to this day, like he wrote that a few years ago now, and he's still so excited about that very first story, and it inspires him to write other stories. And seeing students tap into their imagination and be able to express themselves authentically, it's truly rewarding. And so I felt, pat myself on the back a little bit. I was kind of proud that I encouraged him in that way. Today's episode is brought to you by Easy Grammar Systems, an award-winning grammar program that's easy to teach, easy to learn, and easy to remember. Visit www.easygrammar.com to learn about their unique approach to grammar. And so another triumph is that, you're encouraging them to use their voices. And writing is a great platform for expressing themselves, their own voice, to, share their thoughts, their ideas, and their experiences with the world. And so, as their teacher, we have the privilege of giving them that confidence to find their voice and to use it to make changes in their world. Because, you know, it's so important that they do find their voice, because you cannot be silent in this world. There are so many things to stand up for and to fight for, and if you don't have the words to say, then you're going to end up being silent and just take things as they are, and we are not meant to do that. And so, whether, they get into, persuasive essays and maybe crafting speeches or composing letters to elected officials, we can help students recognize the power of their words and the impact they can have. And who knows what opportunities will come once they master the ability to express themselves in this way. And so one of the other triumphs that we can celebrate is that, we're fostering growth and confidence. And maybe this is the greatest triumph of all, that, they become confident writers. So we want to encourage them with lots of practice, feedback, positive feedback, and lots of encouragement to help them develop their skills and gain confidence in their abilities, and so that they become more effective communicators. And hey, maybe you've got a skill of writing, and don't forget about the power of modeling this kind of behavior. So sometimes it takes you know just those rare moments of our kids watching us getting to use our creative juices, that might spark their own inspiration. And they're going to see that writing is still cool, and it's hard because technology and typing, and so just using pens or pencils, they could be so rare sometimes in this day and age, because people just don't write that way. But there's something about, just writing with a pen. I still love writing with a pen, and uh, I want my kids to see that, even though I have a laptop in front of me for most of the time as I work, I still have a pen and a paper and a little notebook right beside my computer. And, it's valuable and it's rewarding. To me, I love writing. So seeing a struggling writer transform into a confident wordsmith is definitely a testament to, their perseverance and the impact of, effective teaching. And yeah, there's a little bit of pressure on us to make sure that we keep supporting them in that way. But hey, that's what we're here for, right, parents? Now, I will mention that if you are looking for a fabulous writing program, we have at schoolhouseteachers.com, we have a dedicated focused learning center on writing. And I'll make sure the link is in the show notes for you. And it is called Here to Help Writing. And you'll find a comprehensive homeschool writing curriculum for students in elementary and middle school. And it's a unique way of learning. My older son has have started it since we just added it, and he is loving it because it all deals with flight. And he's, again, see, interest-led learning. He is fascinated by planes. He wants to be a pilot, and so this was right up his alley in terms of keeping his interest. And so you're going to be taught by the wonderful Beth Mora, who is a vibrant, passionate lady who is so good at teaching writing in such a unique way. And so definitely check that out on schoolhouseteachers.com, and be sure to check out our daily grammar course. And there are writing prompts on history you can find, and just, yep, be sure to check out schoolhouseteachers.com for some other language arts courses that include writing prompts for you. I'll make sure and pop those suggestions in the show notes. And you can find the show notes at homeschoolshow.com. Before we sign off, I'll just let you know what is coming up for the Hey Mama Homeschool Show. We've got Divine Interruptions, the best teaching moments, honoring homeschool fathers, and then Freedom, it's why we homeschool. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to so you don't miss a new episode. And new episodes come out every Monday, so keep that in mind. And we hope that you are enjoying this podcast, and we thank you for listening. We'll catch you again soon. Bye for now.